Hi, I'm Wilhelm. This video will explore what happens to the soul of a child or a baby after death, may it be through pregnancy loss, miscarriage, stillbirth, abortion, illness, or anything else. My hope is that it offers comfort, insight, and healing, and the knowing that these loved ones are still around and you will see them again.
What is a child or even a baby? At soul level, we are spiritual beings who choose to incarnate on earth for many reasons. Most importantly, to clear karma from past lives and to learn love and compassion. To take part in this material universe, we pass through the stages of human development: baby, child, adolescent, adult. Each one offering its own lessons and opportunities for growth. As I have explained in my video, Life Before Birth, each soul undergoes a pre-birth planning session in the presence of one or more of spirit guides. There they are shown a rough outline of their coming life on earth, all its potential challenges, difficulties, lessons, as well as the good times. Other souls may agree to incarnate alongside them as parents, siblings, or future spouses. After deep reflection, the soul usually accepts this plan, knowing it is the best way to advance and heal. In other words, no one comes to earth against their own free will, nor is anybody trapped here. Let us remember that planet Earth is nothing but a school for souls. In other words, this is not our true home. Some earthly lives last more than 100 years, others only moments, but the length of time depends entirely on the lessons the soul has chosen. When children die at an early age or even before birth, it simply means their purpose here has been fulfilled. There is no need for that child to stay any longer here on earth, where it can easily burden itself further. As Gabriele once explained, often the soul has to expiate only a very small burden, which it can resolve already with a short incarnation into a human body. Even pregnancy loss, miscarriage, and stillbirth can be part of the soul's plan. Sometimes these experiences are linked to the soul contracts of the parents, whose grief and love become part of their own growth. At other times, the soul may only need a brief experience to complete its karmic journey, as Gabri explained. In some cases, if the parent's situation, like a marriage crisis or health changes dramatically, the soul may decide not to incarnate under those conditions or environments. These losses, painful as they are, can also open the way for deep spiritual growth, mostly for the parents. Abortion is a conscious termination of pregnancy by one or both parents and carries karmic consequences, as I've explained in my special video on abortion. Yet whatever the cause of death, Gabriele assures us, the soul of the child which leaves the earthly body again after a very short stay in the temporal therefore does not lose its life, but rather continues on its way back to the eternal homeland. Thereby, it is accompanied by spiritual beings in the beyond. In some cases of early child death and even abortion, the same soul may even return later to the same parents when conditions are more favorable. What happens at a child's passing? When death comes through illness or other ill causes, the child is lovingly supported by spiritual beings, sometimes even greeted by departed grandparents or pets. At the moment of passing, there's no pain or suffering. It is usually easy for the soul of a child to separate from the body because it has not had enough time to grow too attached to the body. The soul is then welcomed into the children's spheres of the spiritual world. However, if they see their parents grieve excessively, they delay their progress to stay close where parents are grieving. That is a tremendous burden for the soul of the child. They can't move on until they feel their parents are okay. When asked about this in a teaching class, Gabriele reminded us, it can also be helpful to us to become aware of who my husband and my child are. Neither one of them is our possession. They are independent spirit beings, souls, which have walked a part of their path at our side during this earthly journey so that we can clear up with one another and release what binds or has bound us to one another in the law of sowing and reaping. Here in these beautiful realms, which are more magnificent than we could ever possibly conceive, the children are lovingly greeted by friends, family, and spiritual companions. If they endured trauma or illness, they may first rest in healing centers, much like hospitals, before moving on. In his book Heaven and Hell, Swedenborg, the 18th century mystic, described these realms as radiant gardens filled with flowers, light, and angelic caretakers, where children play in innocence and joy. In these celestial garden environments, the children are looked after by the most beautiful motherly spirits who in their earth life were especially fond of children. They are gently taught by teaching angels like Leo Barni, who has given us through Gabriele several books about the spiritual upbringing of children. Older children and adolescents continue to develop their talents, creating beauty and peace through their gifts. Here, the children don't have lifeless toys like on Earth, but play and learn to communicate with real-life animals. They swim with the fishes and play with all the animals. They also learn how to make things with their own mind by thinking and concentrating. Their evolution in the realm of the soul is characterized by the joy of discovery of new spiritual possibilities. Though they sometimes miss their earthly families, they would never exchange their bright, joyful home for the struggles of this world. Children in the spiritual spheres grow gradually, much as they would on earth. They may at times visit their earthly families, even if unseen. Sometimes they send signs, a butterfly, a feather, a song, a flower, a fragrance, as reminders that they are still near. We can be grateful for these signs, but let us not bind these happy souls to ourselves. Allow them to be free and grow up and flourish. The good news is that you will most likely be together again. When you eventually make your own transition into the spiritual world, you might be meeting, yes, even hugging, the most wonderful young adult you can possibly imagine.
What I've shared here has been confirmed by many souls who communicated from the children's spheres through mediums, seers, and spiritual teachers. Here are only a few of these books related to this subject. For more information on the death process, I would recommend the book Where Did I Come From? Where Am I Going? I add a link to this book beneath this video. And maybe you also want to watch my short videos on life before birth and the amazing Earth School. I add direct links beneath these videos as well. Thank you for being here with me today. Please don't forget to rate this video and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.